The Pocket Go is the latest addition to the Bittboy family of portable gaming devices, boasting an expanded range of emulation options over the original Bittboy, 2 shoulder buttons, and a much more comfortable form factor. Hit the subscribe button, ring the notification bell, kick off your shoes and relax your socks while we decide if the Pocket Go is the best portable emulation device. The original Bittboy was a wonderful little device that gave one of the best handheld emulation options around. With its gorgeous IPS panel screen, extremely portable and cute form factor, and a fantastic battery life. The only real downside to the Bittboy was the limited emulation options in the form of Game Boy, Game Boy Color, or NES. The Pocket Go is the latest update to the portable Bittboy line and continues the trend with a gorgeous IPS panel screen and an even more user-friendly and portable form factor. This time including emulation for the Game Boy, Game Boy Color and NES, as well as the Game Boy Advance, Super Nintendo, Sega MegaDrive, Sega MasterSystem, Mame Arcade, Neo Geo, PC Engine, Atari 2600, Lynx, Wonderswan, DOS, and even the PlayStation 1. All things considered, this is a fantastic little handheld gaming console, especially for the price of $40 plus postage. If you are after one of these portable little bad boys, then I'll leave some links in the description below. However, there are some issues to consider which stop this from being perfect. So let's get all the issues out of the way so then we can focus on the fun stuff later on. The main problem is that not all games are emulated equal. This is not a problem that is limited to or specific to the Pocket Go. However, it is noticeable on it. For example, the Mame arcade emulator wasn't very user-friendly and was sluggish at times. It took a while for me to load one of my favorite arcade games, NBA Jam, and when I did, it started playing quite slow and choppy, and even though you could technically play the game and perform every action in it, the experience was just completely marred by this choppiness in a game that is meant to be played fast and exhilarating. However, on the other hand, games like Cadillacs and Dinosaurs and Final Fight loaded up pretty easily once I got my head around the user system, and when I was in the game, performed really well, smoothly, and pretty much flawlessly, letting me enjoy some pure arcade fun on the go. The DOS emulator, however, well, the less we say about that, the better. Moving on. Each of the emulators uses its own menu system and user interface for handling save states and exiting out of games, etc. This can be a bit confusing at times, and with some situations resulting in when I thought I'd saved a state, I don't know if I'd made a mistake or if it was an issue with the emulator, but when I went back, my state wasn't there to be played. This is a little bit annoying, but I can overcome it by making sure I hit the save state twice and then going back and double checking just before I quit out of the game. Now, the screen on the Pocket Go, as gorgeous as it is not one of the fastest to refresh. This means that with almost every single side-scrolling game, you're gonna see some kind of screen tearing. Now, although it's not the most aesthetically pleasing feature, it however didn't stop me from enjoying some of my favourite side-scrolling games and even a bit of Sonic as well. Not that Sonic isn't one of my favourites, it's just that it's one of the fastest and probably the one that will put the screen to the test the best. Now, you can modify the screen brightness by holding down the select button and pressing X or A. Now, this works absolutely fine, but sometimes I ended up finding that I would load the Pocket Go only to be met with a blank screen. Now, at first I wasn't sure if there was something wrong with my console, but it turned out the screen was on full dimness, which is basically off. So after a bit of tinkering around, I ended up figuring this out, and then you can brighten it again. But it's something to bear in mind should you find yourself in that situation. So with all that moaning out of the way, let's get on to some of the handheld gaming good stuff, and I'm telling you what, there is a lot. The first thing you notice when you pick up the Pocket Go is that the form factor is a lot like the Game Boy Micro. The Game Boy Micro is a fantastic little handheld console, but it's gonna set you back a lot of money if you want to get one. And if you do, you're going to be limited purely to Game Boy Advance games. The Pocket Go, on the other hand, comes in a little bit wider and almost exactly the same thickness, however at a much lower price point and with a huge vast library of games. One of the best features about the Game Boy Micro is just exactly how pocketable it is, and as the name implies, the Pocket Go is incredibly pocketable itself. The Pocket Go also has a really nice build quality with a decent weight to it as well, giving it that premium feel but still making it comfortable to use for those long handheld gaming sessions. The D-pad and the buttons on the Pocket Go are equally well designed with a nice feel and a nice amount of clickiness to them as well. Some good clicking. In the box you even get some alternative colours for the buttons if you want to add a bit of customization. Although I've not tried to replace mine yet, so I can't really say how easy or difficult it is to do that. The Pocket Go also boasts an earphone jack, a micro USB port, an AV out and a micro SD card slot. And as far as battery life goes, this baby keeps on going and going. In the week that I've been using it, I've not run out of battery once, and I have kind of put it through its paces. I'm not sure what the official duration is, but it definitely impresses for a handheld gaming console. The Pocket Go also comes packaged with a micro SD 8GB SD card. And now this is one of the best things. It comes fully packed with an amazing heap of rare and amazing retro classics, as well as with plenty of space left over so you can add your own ROMs as well. ROMs can simply be added into the relevant console folder that sits within the main ROMs folder. I just couldn't resist adding Toy Story into the mix, so you know, that went in there straight away. Now when I first fired up the Pocket Go, I knew there were games on the SD card, but I didn't really know what to expect. But I tell you what, I was not disappointed. We've got games of the likes of the original Batman, DuckTales, Mike Tyson's Punch-Out!, Zelda the Minish Cap, Mega Man, Super Mario, Castlevania, Advance Wars 2, Harvest Moon, Metroid Fusion, Street Fighter 2, Donkey Kong Country, Shinobi, Wonderboy, Mortal Kombat, Sonic, and that's just to name a few. Not to mention some of the absolute best and rarest arcade games out there, as well as a few sweet PC ports thrown in just for good measure. The extra shoulder buttons on the Pocket Go make it an absolute pleasure to play with 90% of the games that are emulated. The only real issue comes with maybe some of the PlayStation 1 games that would have the R2 or the L2 buttons that would be missing, or some of the first person shooters that would normally enable you to turn and strafe, which you'd usually want like a thumbstick or a mouse control for that. However, although not the best way to play it, there are workarounds. For example, in Quake, if you just use your D-pad, you'll just turn, but if you hold A at the same time, then you'll strafe. And you know what? It actually works pretty well. Just maybe avoid a lot of the big crowds and you'll probably be fine. Now, as I've said in my previous videos, I play most of my video games portably these days. So the idea of a fully handheld emulation station really appeals to me. And although the Pocket Go won't be replacing my retro Pi setup anytime soon, it definitely is my new best portable friend. If you want to pick up your own portable Go, then you can check out the links in the descriptions below. But if you're not bothered, then you can check out some of the other episodes while you're here.